They feed off of the First Amendment rights that protect our liberties to life, liberty, speech, the pursuit of happiness. So we have to use those same liberties now and today to stop that parasite, right?
Yes.
Right.
No pasaran. So a couple of announcements. Today, this whole activity is non-violent. I saw in Penn, whatever, Penn Live? Peaceful Nazi protest. Sorry, clergy. Bullshit. That is not peaceful. Just because you don't hit doesn't mean you are peaceful. We are non-violent because violence denies the humanity of another person. But we are here, we are righteous, and we are angry. I beg all of you, when you do these things, do not say that you are peaceful. Say that you are non-violent. Because when you say that you are peaceful, you put the burden on the police to make sure that nothing happens. You put the burden on the other people. And as soon as they are angry and violent, you'll get blamed. We control our own actions in our own agency. And we are non-violent. Should any of those people be here today in this park, when you do the volunteer activity, just if you hear any hateful words, actions, whatever, turn away. Do not engage them. That is the best thing to do in the moment. Okay, so that's the first announcement. The second, of course, is we're trying to do this as best we can. I only took my face mask off so you could hear me. With COVID-19 safety, I see lots of masks. Everybody's socially distanced. That's great. Third, one of the most important things we wanted to do today, aside from reconsecrating this space, is to make sure that we could bring word about all the things that are happening about racial justice and social justice in this city and in this area to these neighborhoods. So we have these flyers. Maybe, Jay, you could hold one up. And they announce 3 things. How to register to vote with a QR code, which is very convenient for people. How to get involved with the local NAACP chapter, which, thanks to Erniezer Page, who's over here, raise your hand, is gearing up and is becoming very large and effective in this area. And you're welcome to join. And the third is about an event in 2 weeks, which is being organized by one of our allies. If not us, then who? You might have heard of them. They're rock stars of the movement right now in this area. So there's information about that, which is on August 2nd. And before, so I don't forget, the flyer there, it's called a broadsheet, the newsletter. It says in one place that the If Not Us, Then Who event is July 26th. That was a mistake. It's actually August 2nd. The correct date is also in there. But anyway, so at the end of this, we're going to have people fan out. We have it broken down by neighborhood. I know it's hot, and some people may not be willing to do this, but if you can go and do this, it's very simple. We're just going to leave this newsletter at people's households, right? And so they have that information, because a lot of people live in an information vacuum. Last 2 things. One is there's some clipboards over there. If you could please sign up so you can stay in touch with the Hub for Progress. And we're just a meeting place. There are a lot of groups that work with us. West Branch Hub, West Branch Pride, which are in this area, like Lycoming County Progressive, the NAACP. You know, we're able to collect that information for everybody. Still want to thank a couple of people. There were about 25 people who yesterday on a Facebook chat, they're either generous enough or not smart enough to stop paying attention to me when I send them Facebook chats. So they were part of kind of the background emergent planning. I just want to thank a few of them. Can you raise your hand? Is there anybody who was on that? Yeah, Jay, raise your hand. Sharee. All right, these people all helped a lot. How many of you all came out here today? Now you raise your hand. Yes, raise your hand. Okay, everybody give everybody a hand for helping. We're going to start with... okay. Yes? Sure, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. My name is Father Kyle Murphy. I am pastor at Christ Episcopal Church on the corner of 4th and Mulberry Street. And it's amazing to see you all here. And I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to say today. I was just asked to speak this morning. But thank you for this. You took the words out of my mouth, truly. The first thing that came to my mind as I see all of you here is that this is Williamsport, not what we saw yesterday. Secondly, it isn't just Williamsport. As we heard, there are people from all over. As you mentioned, we are in this together. And it isn't about numbers, but it does seem like there's more of us than of them, and for that I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that. There's a couple other things that I thought about as I was coming up here today. The presiding bishop, Michael Curry of the Episcopal Church, has a quote, and it adorns our front lawn, and it's true. And it says, if it isn't about love, it's not about God. If If it isn't about love, it's not about God. It's plain and simple, and that really should be our response. Our response should always be first to step out in love, and that's what I think we're doing here today. The other thing that's important about this work is it can't stop today. It has to keep going. So this walk, maybe turn it into a daily walk. This work must continue, and we have to keep it up at all costs, right? And so the final thought that I would like to say before I turn it over to my friend here for prayer is that what we heard and saw yesterday was a sin. It was a sin. And it was evil. And anything that divides us is a sin. And way in the beginning, in Genesis 1, God created all that is and all of us to be one family. And anything that makes us not one family is not what God intends for this world. And so I thank you all for being here. I bless you all in all the work that you do in your homes, in your families, communities, places of worship, your schools. Keep it up. God bless you in all that you do, and thank you for being here today.
This is, I don't know how to say it. This is Ricky Cephas, who's I've gotten to know in the last couple of weeks. He's doing great work with NEPA United, Black Lives Matter, NEPA United. We wanted to do a land acknowledgement. So I don't know if people are familiar with this story, but it's a way to acknowledge and to say the names of the people. So we're here before. So go ahead.
We would like to acknowledge that this land was home to the Susquehannock people for hundreds of years before white colonizers decimated the population through disease and genocide. The city of Williamsport and its citizens have benefited greatly from the theft of this land, most notably through its destruction during the last century's lumber boom and recent fracking. We contacted the representatives of the Lenape, Delaware, the Shawnee, and the Iroquois nations, who were connected by traveling the Susquehannock Trail along the Lycoming Creek, who were unfortunately unable to be here with us today. So, we all ask participating to remember that the dismantling systems of oppression and white supremacy must always include recognition of the forced removal and human rights violations against the indigenous peoples. Thank you.
You can introduce yourself.
My name is Donna Camp. I have been here since 2004. The Lord asked me to pray for Williamsport, Pennsylvania, the United States of America, and for all nations and all world. And he told me to remind everybody, I am what you call a watchman on the wall. God placed watchmen on the walls of the Jewish walls to warn the people when there was danger. And that's what I was required to do. I'm an intercessor. I've been an intercessor for 26 years now. And I have been praying ever since 2004. And I want you to know that I am very, very, very thankful from the bottom of my heart for all of you here today. We have lost over the world, and especially for all the churches that come together in Jesus Christ. And I want to thank all of you. This is the largest crowd we have had here, and we are proud of every single one of you. I can't stay. I have a friend I'm with, and she's over in the car right now. So I just ask you, please, help us to save America. We are at a critical time in this nation, and we need to pull together. The Lord gave us a warning with 9/11, and we ignored it. He's given us another warning, and He's given us a short time to bring our country back to Him. And I ask all of you to join me in asking Him to help us to do His perfect will, that His will here on earth can be done as it is in heaven. God bless every single one of you. And may the good Lord bless you as you have been a blessing to me and everybody else, not only here in Pennsylvania, but in the world. God bless every one of you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for being here. I want to bring up Ebenezer real quick.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ebenezer Page, and I'm the candidate for the 83rd District. I want to say I am so happy to see all of you here and this solidarity for not only Black Lives Matter, but in remembrance of Congressman Lewis. I believe he would be very, very proud to see us all out here in support of the issues that our communities are facing right now. I want to bring up Melody Russell, who is now the president of the local chapter of the NAACP. It was a labor of love to get this unit started here in Williamsport, and I proudly turn over this mantle to her as she will lead us into a better way in this community and the surrounding communities. I want you to know that even though you are from Wilkes-Barre or Mansfield, we are all connected, and you being here is a representation of that. So I am the candidate for the 83rd District here in Williamsport, and I look forward to supporting the community in activities like this going forward. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Hey, is everybody out there? All right. So, just to reiterate what Paige just said, it's beautiful to see such a wide range of people here from all over. I just see some of my brothers from the mosque just came out, so it's good to have all representations here because we are a community. And as Paige said, I've been elected, or nominated, I should say, as the NAACP president for the Lycoming Tri-County chapter. So we do have some applications for anyone interested in joining. And you don't have to be a person of color. Let me make that clear to join.
I'm on the board.
We need all hands on deck because it's going to take all the community to do this. So we're asking for your help. We're asking for your solidarity. We'd also like to take this time to pay homage and tribute to the late, great John L. Lewis, who stood in the face of all kind of hatred and racism, and sometimes he stood alone, and all the way up to his death. You know, he was a pioneer and a trailblazer, and you know, he's passing the torch to us. So we have to be diligent in doing what's right, because that's morally our responsibility. So with that, I will turn the program back over to Jordy, who, by the way, let's give him a hand because he put this together in less than 24 hours.
Yeah, thank you. somebody asked me if I was organizing it, and I said I'm a little bit more like a hammer that's at the end of a very long arm, So I feel a little beat up, but I really am just channeling the energy of everybody here. Just wanted to make it sort of super clear. This was always meant to be a very ecumenical. We're welcoming all religions and all faiths, and so we do have a couple of members of the local mosque. We reached out to the synagogue. I don't know. Did we get anyone? Is there anyone here from the local synagogue or any synagogue?
Jewish, we don't belong, but we do.
Okay, all right. But all faiths are welcome here. And let's see. We're kind of done a lot. Okay, so I'm going to invite. I forgot your name, sir. John. John's going to give us the final prayer, and then we'll move to the next part.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. My name's John Charnock. I work over at the hospital, and hospitals are incredible places of prayer. Somebody's always praying in a hospital about important things. I invite you to join me in prayer today. Dear God, thank you for the gift of this beautiful day and for the daily opportunity to love you and our neighbor. The events of this weekend remind us of the choices available to all human beings. Yesterday's display of hatred, bigotry, and racism on this very ground, in this very place, represents some of the worst of which we humans are capable. Lord, forgive the sin committed yesterday, and forgive our own actions or inaction that contribute to inhumanity. Yesterday's events are in sharp contrast, O Lord, to the life and legacy of John Lewis. In honor of his example, help us participate in what he called good trouble. This day and every day, give us courage to stand against oppression and in favor of justice. Lord, thank you for the gift of this beautiful day. Help us use it to love our neighbor and so honor you. Amen.
Okay. Yes, thank you to everybody who spoke. Most people have probably heard the name John Lewis. I know good trouble, that it's important to make good trouble. As somebody who's done a lot of work in communities, is something I've heard other people say, and I take it into my heart. There's a great graphic novel, if you like that, called March, which is his autobiography is told to a graphic artist. So, check it out. It's really powerful. I've been really fortunate personally to get to meet Sharee Clark, who lives in Wilkes-Barre, and she had told me that she's John Lewis's cousin. So I wanted to invite her up. You want to come on up, Sharee? So Sharee's going to read some words about her cousin. First, if we could have a moment of silence for the man and the legacy he left, and for his family and all those whose hearts are hurting by his absence. Blessed be.
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
So you guys, just off the top, just please forgive me. I'm not accustomed to being restricted to words that are written. I'm more of a heart speaker. So I had to write this to make sure that all points were covered. The blood running through my veins is that of a long lineage of freedom fighters, one whom we celebrate today. I can remember growing up and hearing the stories of my relatives' part in the civil rights movement and being proud and inspired. I stand before you today in honor of the life and legacy of Congressman John Lewis, the little boy from Troy who found himself making good trouble. John Lewis died in the way he lived, fighting. And on July 17, 2020, he was relieved of his 6-month battle with cancer. He was 80 years of age. His life's mission was to create a just and fair world. He dedicated his life to the civil rights movement, working tirelessly to ensure every black man, woman, and child was offered the same opportunities as their white counterparts were. John Lewis was born the son of sharecroppers Eddie and Willie Mae Carter Lewis on February 21st, 1940, outside of Troy, Alabama. He was the third of 10 children. He grew up on his family's farm and attended segregated public schools in Pike County, Alabama. As a young boy, he was inspired by the activism surrounding the Montgomery bus boycott and the words of the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., which he heard on radio broadcasts. In those pivotal moments, he made a decision to become a part of the civil rights movement. Ever since then, he has remained at the vanguard of progressive social movements and the human rights struggle in the United States. As a student at Fisk University, John Lewis organized sit-in demonstrations and segregated lunch counters in Nashville, Tennessee. In 1961, he volunteered to participate in the Freedom Rides, which challenged segregation at interstate bus terminals across the South. Lewis risked his life on those rides many times by simply sitting in seats reserved for white patrons. He was also beaten severely by angry mobs and arrested by police for challenging the injustice of Jim Crow segregation in the South. He survived a brutal beating by police during a landmark 1965 march in Selma, Alabama, to become a towering figure of the civil rights movement and a longtime U.S. congressman. Lewis's lifelong moral authority was expansive, and he addressed iterations of injustice as they presented themselves, from police brutality to poverty to limits on same-sex marriage. He challenged not only his enemies, but also his allies, those who broadly supported the movement for rights and equality, but did not go far enough in eradicating these qualities. He said this year, we must be bold, brave, courageous, and push and pull until we redeem the soul of America and move closer to a community at peace with itself, where no one will be left out because of race, color, or nationality. I leave with you today the same appeal John Lewis delivered prior to Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. In his words, I appeal to all of you to get into this great revolution that is sweeping this nation. Get in the streets and stay in the streets of every city, every village, and hamlet of this nation until true freedom comes, until the revolution of 1776 is complete. As we all know, the struggle continues. And what better way to honor the legacy of John Lewis than to pick up the baton and advance the movement? Thank you.
I really don't want to go after that. That was beautiful, Sharee. Can we give her another hand? I love that what John Lewis said at the Great March in Washington is we need to get out in the streets and keep doing things. So to that end, you know, one of the things I saw as we were preparing this was Dr. Martin Luther King saying that the best way to drive out hate is with light and love. And so what we're going to do now is a volunteer activity, and I invite anyone who feels like they can do this to please participate. Here's how it's going to work. We have these flyers that we put together called the broadsheet. That's something that we use in the Hub for Progress. So we printed up a copy, and I said this earlier, but just to repeat, it has 3 pieces of information. It has how to vote with a QR code. So for those of you who don't know what that is, it's a way that a phone can look at a little box of little squares, and then it immediately takes the person to the website to vote. So it makes it really easy to register to vote. And also to do mail-in voting, which everybody should know is a really great way. What it does is it lets people know about August 2nd, If Not Us Then who are an ally and a partner with the Hub and the NAACP, are doing an event here in Williamsport. And please let everyone know, especially young people, right? If Not Us Then Who is extremely excellent at bringing young people into this. And the third piece is it has information about how to get connected with the local NAACP. If you're one of the people who hands it out, just know that the part about the NAACP has a small mistake. It says that the If Not Us Then Who is next weekend. That's a mistake. We only had 24 hours, but people should see that it's got the right information, or if you have a chance to scratch that out on the front page and write in August 2nd as you're going along, that would be great. We want people to go in teams of at least 2. It's more fun to do this that way, and also it's a little bit about safety, right? Again, should you happen, we don't think, maybe they're all like recovering from a hangover or they went away, but we don't really expect to see those people here. But if they do not engage, do not confront. It's not on you to try and fix them. right? It's on you to keep yourself and your partner safe. We've divided the whole area around here into pretty small chunks. It'll probably take about 45 minutes to do one. And what you're going to do is you're going to take the flyer and just put it like on the door, in a window. If you've ever done this for campaigns, the little handle of a screen door, great place. Roll it up, slide it in there. Do not put it in a mailbox, right? You can't do that. You don't need to, yeah, I'm not being amplified, so. You do not need to, you do not need to, if somebody wants to talk to you, that you're welcome to do that, right? But we want to make sure that we don't want people to feel like we're trying to break sort of COVID safety things. We would love to have like 12 teams of 2. Are there people who are willing to walk around for 45 minutes? Awesome, that's really great. Okay, so what I'd like to do is, if you're from Williamsport and you know one of these neighborhoods, I want to have you head for the table, and I'm hoping Jay will help me. And we're going to let you kind of pick the neighborhoods you know the best, right? If you're not from Williamsport, kind of hang back in this area a little bit, and we'll get to it. It'll take us a few minutes to kind of set people up, okay? If you don't feel like walking today, make sure you check out the information at the table. You know, build connections and networks with people around here. That's a super important part of organizing. Last thing I'll say is there's 2 parts of social change. First, we organize, which means we get people connected to the organizations and the people who are leading efforts, and then we mobilize, right? Today was a mobilization because we've been doing this organization for 3 years, and that's why there's so many of you all here. So that's not super exciting, and it's not as good as Sharee's words, but I'm going to leave you with that. There's 2 things we always have to do. First, organize, then mobilize, and then we win. Thank you for coming. Woo!